So today's class is dedicated memory of Maras Shaindel Bas Moshe. Yahrtzeit is today. May her neshama have an aliyah. May she be put to better and to sing on behalf of her family, Secha Yisrael, exclusive the written family, Secha Yisrael, L'chaim. This lady hires this company to do a portrait of her. And in the portrait, she wants to have these fancy exorbitant earrings and necklace in her portrait. And the man making the portrait asks her, "You never wear these kind of earrings, never wear this kind of necklace. Why do you want this portrait?" So she said, "When I die, God forbid, my husband may want to marry someone else. And I would like that she has a very hard time trying to find this jewelry, trying to find these earrings, trying to find this necklace." Jealousy is a big thing. And this week's Torah portion talks about it. So Korach is jealous of Moshe. He wants to have the position of the leader of the Jewish people and of the Kohen Gadol, various interpretations of what exactly he wanted. And the Ibn Ezra explains that jealousy only affects a person to be jealous of people in the same social status or close to the same social status. In other words, if you're so much like me, but you're not like me, so I can't figure out why I can't have what you have. You're a little smarter than I am. You look a little better than I do. Your heart's a little more generous and kind and warm, and so you have better friends. I wonder why I can't be like you. What do you have that I don't have? And so this is something that we find throughout the book of Bereshis. This theme of jealousy. We find that Adam was jealous of Hashem. We find that the snake is jealous of Adam. We find that Cain is jealous of Hevel. We find that the Esav is jealous of Yitzchak, and Shmuel is jealous of his brother. Esav is jealous of Yaakov, and Shmuel is jealous of Yitzchak. And the whole book of Bereshis seems to be in this kind of theme where there's this jealousy and how the jealousy ends up. The conclusion of the book of Bereshis, interestingly, is with the story of Menashe and Ephraim, where Yaakov puts his right hand on the younger brother's head. And interestingly, this part of the story actually ends well, where till today we bless our children. May they be like Ephraim and Menashe, and perhaps our blessing is also they should not only get along with each other, but they should have a deep, high regard and love for each other. So, the Ibn Ezra says a person wouldn't be jealous of the princess. Her fame is known throughout the country, but she's not in the same social status as him, and therefore it's not something that he would think that he should be marrying the princess of the country. It's not something he's jealous of his friends. He's jealous of his family. He's not jealous of people which are completely not in his realm of social status. And similarly with Korach and Moshe had a lot in common. Moshe was the son of Amram, the son of Kohas, and Korach also was the son of Yitzhar, the son of Kohas, the same grandmother as Moshe Rabbeinu, same grandfather as Moshe Rabbeinu. So it makes sense that we go to the same Bubby, the same grandmother. We have a lot in common. How did he all of a sudden rise head and shoulders above me and above all the Jewish people? Why can't I be like him? What's missing in me that he has? And what happens with jealousy often is that when you're jealous, you want to completely destroy the person you're jealous of, so that way they won't irk your ire because they won't be around anymore. That's where jealousy usually goes. And so too with Moshe Rabbeinu, he wanted to destroy Moshe Rabbeinu. And there is a argument that Korach brought to convince people in his time to join him. Korach was successful not only bringing the regular rabble-rousers who had contended with Moshe Rabbeinu for decades, he also succeeded in bringing onto his camp others, like the firstborn. The firstborn were meant to have the unique distinction of serving in the Mishkan, the temple, until the sin of the golden calf, when it was taken away from them and given to the tribe of Levi, who had not sinned. So Korach was successful in getting rabbis in the tribe of Reuven and the firstborn, the leaders of Jewish courts, they should join him in his campaign against Moshe. One of the arguments that Korach used, Korach went to Moshe Rabbeinu and he said to him, if there is a room full of holy books, does it need to have a mezuzah? If there is a talus, which is dyed with the color of techelas, which is a color created by a fish of chilazin that we don't have nowadays. By the way, interestingly, I saw this yesterday in the Torah. The Alter Rebbe says we don't have this nowadays because the kind of divine revelation that is achieved by wearing the tchelas is not something we're able to have in this time of the exile. Anyway, so if a talus has that color, it's supposed to have that color on the strings. But if it doesn't have it on the strings, it has it instead on the garment where the strings come out of. Does it also need to have that color on the strings? With both of these arguments, Korach wanted to say, just like obviously he thought Moshe would say, of course, there's not a room full of holy books doesn't need a mezuzah. Of course, a talus full of tchelas does not need to have the strings of tchelas as well. And he was going to say, okay, Moshe Rabbeinu, then we don't need you. We're all holy. You're a little bit holier than us. Why are you head and shoulders above us? We don't need you. You're not unique among us. That's what Korach thought would happen. But instead, Moshe Rabbeinu told him that no, indeed, that a talus that is colored completely with chelas still needs to have tzitzis that are dyed chelas, and a room full of holy books still needs to have a mezuzah, and Korach can understand this. And it says in the Talmud that a lot of stories about Rabbi Baruch Hanina, stories which are completely above nature, miracles happening, islands, and amazing things. The general consensus is that these stories are metaphors. And there's one story about Rabbi Baruch Hanina going on a journey, and he meets this Arab, and the Arab tells Rabbi Baruch Hanina, let me show you where those who were swallowed in the ground at the time of the story of Korach and his men, let me show you where they are today. And he shows them this valley. In the valley, there's this smoke coming out of the ground. He takes this piece of wool and he sticks it into the ground through a long stick, and it comes out completely singed. So Rabbi Baruch Hanina listens to he hears a voice coming out of the ground. What is the voice saying? Moshe emes, v'terase emes, v'nachnu badoim. Moshe is true, his Torah is true, and we are the ones who are saying lies. So the words emes, truth, is an acronym for the three arguments that Korach and his men had against Moshe. Emes stands for Aaron, Mezuzah, and Chelas. Aaron, the priesthood of Aaron, the need for Mezuzah, and the Tchelas. That's why they say that Moshe is true. They don't say Moshe is righteous. They say Moshe is true, emphasizing the 3 points with which they challenge Moshe Rabbeinu's authority. There's a very interesting anomaly in the family of Korach. Not everyone was killed. Korach's 3 sons survived. Why did they survive? They were the chief Twitter, social media people for Korach, and yet they're the ones who survived. How did they survive? It says in the Talmud that there's a place in Gehenna, a place in hell. They didn't fall all the way into the earth, although they were swallowed in the earth, but there's a place that they were able to, some perch over there that they were able to remain aloof from whatever happened to Korach, and they sing a song to Hashem from this perch. Why is that? So it says that Rashi says because at the last moment they had thoughts of tshuva. They may have externally been on their father's team, but they are actually rejected this whole argument of their father, and they wanted to be with Moshe Rabbeinu. So interestingly, because externally they're with Korach, but within their hearts they were with Moshe, so too externally they were swallowed in the ground. But internally, what's happening in the ground is that they are not suffering the same as everyone else. They're lifted above everyone else. And what are they doing there? So Talmud says they sing a song. What song do they sing? So Talmud says in Bava Basra that the book of Tehillim is made up, wasn't authored only by David HaMelech. David HaMelech compiled the Tehillim, but whereas many of the Psalms of Tehillim come from the children of Korach. I think 11 Psalms. And very fascinating. Almost all the Psalms of the children of Korach have the same theme. What are they singing about? They sing about the greatness of Jerusalem. Why the greatness of Jerusalem? It's an interesting custom we have after Shabbos. A few customs we have after Shabbos. We fold our talis, and we make Havdalah. It's customary to spill some wine on the floor. One of the reasons, a little bit, then clean it up, or not, whatever. Anyway, so one of the reasons it says in the Talmud that a house where wine is spilled in will not have any anger that week. We'll actually take away the anger, maybe because they expend the anger though. Motzei Shabbos, we spill the wine on the floor. No one ever expends anger. Anger only intensifies when anger is exhibited. Anyways, yeah. So what's the point of pouring the wine on the floor? So it says this point of that brings mazel and it causes the house not have any anger, but it also says, interestingly, that Korach's family goes out of Gehenna, out of its suffering through Shabbos, and before they return, we give them something. We give them the wine of Havdalah. Somehow, I pouring the wine on the floor, that gives something to Korach's family. How does it give them anything? What are we trying to give them? In Havdalah, we are making the announcement how the separation, how the whole hierarchy of creation, separation of dark and night, of night and day, of the Jewish people and the nations of the world, of Shabbos and days of the week. And so this is very in sync with mistake of Korach, where Korach was saying that, we're all the same, and we don't need you to be above us. So in this time of where we are very sharply announcing the different categories in creation, we also point at the story of Korach, and that's why the wine is poured on the floor in order to somehow give something to the family of Korach to elevate them through the mitzvah of Havdalah. This is also the reason why the Ketores, the incense, Moshe Rabbeinu told Korach, in the morning we'll see who is correct, you or I. Everyone will offer incense to Hashem. Whoever Hashem chooses, God will take their incense. So it says that when the incense was offered, there was one herb that caused there to be smoke. And the idea of smoke, in Hebrew, the word smoke comes from, it has an acronym. Ashan stands for Olam Shana Nefesh, space, time, and soul. So on Yom Kippur, the holiest person in soul, the Kohen Gadol, enters the holiest place, the Beis HaMikdash, in the Beis HaMikdash, the Holy of Holies, and the holiest time on Yom Kippur. So the idea of the smoke coming from the ground, from the punishment for the people of Korach, emphasizes how they weren't aware of this need for distinction of time, space, and soul. And that's why also they sing about Jerusalem. They sing about Jerusalem because they were missing this understanding of the greatness of space, of Jerusalem among all places in the world. Does that make sense? But Jerusalem was going to be chosen. And therefore their song is about perhaps it's about the what would be chosen by Hashem as well. It was chosen by Hashem at the beginning of creation already, but it wasn't yet sanctified yet with the Jewish people conquering it. That's correct. There's so this is what they're singing about. This is what they were punished with. This is what was going through their minds. But what's really the answer to Korach's problem? Korach seems to justifiably be very jealous of Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu was Moshe Rabbeinu, and he's not. What's the answer to Korach? So Moshe tells Korach one word which answers everything. He says, tomorrow morning, God will announce who he has chosen. What is Moshe saying with the words tomorrow morning? What is he emphasizing with the words tomorrow morning? So Rashi, if he wants to make this challenge and this great display of who was right and who was wrong by this fire and this ground opening up, and Hashem is going to choose who he should serve him in the Mishkan, who he's not serving him in the Mishkan, who's going to be punished. Why not do it at night? Why do it in the day? Why does Moshe wait till the next morning? So Rashi says Moshe was hitting the Korach, just like Hashem created day and he created night, and there are limitations Hashem made in the world. Hashem made parameters in the world. They're both created by Hashem. Yet there's a distinction between day and night. So too Hashem has made a distinction between the Kohen and the non-Kohen, between Aaron and Moshe Rabbeinu and the rest of the Jewish people. And this is the way things are. There's a separation, there's a hierarchy in creation. That's the surface of what Rashi is saying. The Rebbe explains that there's a far deeper message here. It's not only that there is a hierarchy in creation, but Moshe was also responding to Korach's feelings of jealousy. And he was giving him the answer, the antidote to assuage his pain, and a message for all of us, especially now in the week before Gimel Tammuz, very, very connected to something the Rebbe really changed the world with. What Moshe was saying is, in order to have a day, you need a day in Torah means a night and a day. There is the relaxation and the peacefulness, tranquility of night. That stops, the sun rises, and then there's a time for action and movement. And you need both to have a day. You can't just have a day with only night or with only daytime. You need to have both. So Moshe was telling Korach, indeed, Hashem chose me for what I was chosen for. But you, Korach, you also have a story. And no one else has your story. You have something that no one else has. And therefore, you don't have to be jealous of me, because I, Moshe, can't be you either. There was famous parable that Bavad Yosef used to give about this lion who catches a mouse, and the mouse says to the lion, "Let me go, I will help you one day." The mouse laughs at the lion, and the lion laughs at the mouse. "You're going to help me? How you can help me? I'm the king of all the beasts." But he lets the mouse go, and one day the lion is caught by in a net, and the mouse is passing by, and the mouse is able to chew onto the ropes that the lion is caught in, and he saves the lion. Everyone has their unique thing to give the world, as the Torah says, "Al tivaz l'chol adam," do not hold in disgrace any man. Ein l'chol adam, there is no person. Every person has his place and time where he's able to contribute, and no one else can. And just like day and night contribute to and complement each other, so too in the various hierarchies of holiness in the world, although the Talmud says there are 10 levels of holiness, they all contribute to each other. For example, the Holy of Holies and the Azara, the rest of the tabernacle, need each other, and the rest of Jerusalem and the rest of Israel all affect each other. People make a pilgrimage from all of Israel to Jerusalem, to the temple. The temple is enhanced by the rest of Israel. The sacrifices brought in the Azara, it's the blood of those sacrifices that are offered in the Holy of Holies. So they may have, the Holy of Holies is holier than the rest of the Azara, but it needs the Azara. And there's a sage named, I don't want to mispronounce his name, Ezra Khamvi, and I think he was living in Baghdad. There was this Arab who was got very drunk, and he was very angry, and came home, and he wanted some coffee and cake, and he told his wife, "You better make this coffee before I finish this cake, or you'll have to leave." And she couldn't make the coffee fast enough because the water wasn't heated up, and she was so nervous that everything spilled, and she knocked the cake down, and he got so angry he kicked her out of the house. And their law is, once he kicks her out of the house, they're divorced and can't come back. So he went to the mullah. What should I do? The mullah said, "I have no idea." So he went to the rabbi. Jews are smart. So the rabbi says, let's go to your house. And they see in the house, there's still some crumbs in the floor. So you didn't finish the cake. You didn't finish the cake. You finished the cake. You told your wife just to make the coffee before you finished the cake. She didn't finish the cake, so the condition for the divorce is invalid, therefore you can go back. Point is that there are the crumbs, and there are no one is really just a measly crumb. Everyone has their unique presence in the world that no one else has. It's fascinating how when the final solution was drafted, and the Nazis are sitting around determining the fate of all the Jews in Europe, they didn't skip Albania. Albania had 200 Jews. And discussing what should we do with the 200 Jews? How are we going to destroy those Jews as well? Mendel Futafas was once by a Farbrengen, and someone asked him, says in the Talmud, person is supposed to say, the world was created for me. So the world's created for me. That sounds like an arrogant thing. I mean, on the one hand, in Tanya, the Alter speaks about how this emphasizes the responsibility of each person. The world's created for me, but it also seems to be an arrogant statement. The whole world's here for me. So Mendel's said, I don't know. The guy said, actually asked the Rebbe this question. And Mendel stood up, what did the Rebbe say? He said, the Rebbe said, the word olam, the word world, means concealment. The reason Hashem concealed himself is for my sake. I have my way of contributing to the world to take away some of the darkness. Hashem made that darkness, Hashem made this concealment for my sake. I'm supposed to do something about it uniquely that no one else can do. That's what Moshe was telling Korach. This affects also Jewish law. In November 11th, 1982, there was a car bomb that destroyed a 7-story building, one of the greatest tragedies in Israeli history. This car bomb destroyed a 7-story building, killed 90 people, and there was a question what to do because many of the soldiers were in the, most of the soldiers were in the, there was a lot of government officials as Israel was then ruling this certain sections of Lebanon. This is entire Lebanon. So they didn't know what to do about how to rescue these soldiers, because in order to rescue the soldiers in the bottom floors, they would have to use heavy machinery that would kill the soldiers in the top floors. Can they do that? Or if you're driving and there's 5 kids crossing the street and you need to veer out of the way, and you could veer out of the way and not run over one kid, what do? Or there's a train on the tracks and it sees a bus on the tracks and it could go off the tracks and kill one person. Well, how does that work? So the Chavis Ben Yamin, he writes that you cannot kill one person to save another. You're not allowed to destroy. You're not allowed to kill some to save others. Rabbi Eliezer of Aldenburg echoes the statement, and he says you can't. There's no such thing in Judaism of killing one to save another. But the Kesef Mishnah actually asks on the Rambam. The Rambam mentions, he's the first one to mention this rule, and as halacha, he asks, I don't know the reason. The Kesef Mishnah says, why indeed can't we kill one to save another? Kill one to save many. But the Kesef Mishnah says this is a Kabbalah b'yadin, this is a tradition that we have, and this is the rule. It's interesting he says it that way. I mean, we could think of reasons. Once you start justifying death, killing someone, then there's no end to where it goes. Like kill the weak to save the strong. And but the Kesef Mishnah writes that he says this idea is something that we do not have any understanding of. This is just tradition that we have. But the Rebbe writes 2 explanations for this. One explanation is that every person has their mission in the world, and you can't really measure what anyone can achieve. You can't say one person is greater than the other and how to measure. For example, everything didn't give this example, but this seems to fit this. Yosef and his brothers. 10 brothers are angry about Yosef, so get rid of Yosef and save 10. I mean, especially according to the way the Talmud says that they viewed Yosef as trying to kill them. He was reporting to their father their misdeeds so that they would be punished and killed, according to their view, whatever. But can one person's life supersede can 10 people's life supersede the life of one? But yet we see with Yosef that he saved the whole world, that his wisdom saved them too. And another point is that the Medrash writes that every person's life is connected to a spark of holiness of the soul, a spark of Moshe Rabbeinu, which is, you can't estimate what that is. There's no way to estimate and define how valuable a neshama is. And therefore, as Moshe told Korach, yes, I have my story, but you have your story. And no one has a story that you have. You have your own way to contribute to the world that no one else can. That's why Hashem made everyone to be different. Although people look very similar, but everyone has their own fingerprints, and their own iris, and their own DNA. And no one is exactly the same as someone else. Why? Because every one of us is part of this generation, the generation to usher in the coming of Mashiach. And each of us has something unique to make that happen. And therefore, Moshe told Korach, there's no basis for your jealousy. Yes, I have something you don't have, but you, Moshe told Korach, you also have something. There's something that which you see that, What is it? What does Korach have? What's that? Yeah. Well, one thing Korach had is he was wealthier. He was wealthier than anyone else in his time. He had a lot. A lot of resources Hashem gave him. But I think the more important question is that today's Hayom Yom, the Rebbe writes about how to be connected to him. The previous Rebbe said, if you want to be in another letter, not today's Hayom Yom, but a similar sentiment, is if you want to be connected all the time, I should always think about you and think about how to spread the Torah and Chassidus to more and more people. This idea of reaching out to another person and letting them realize, how special they are. They have a mission, and this is something that is really that the Rebbe developed in the whole world through not just in talking about it, but in action. There's one, like I actually ever made a mikveh for one woman in Lebanon. There's this has to happen. There's one woman in Lebanon. She's a mikveh. Yesterday, crazy story. It happened to me yesterday on the way to shul yesterday. I'm by the red light in Robertson and Pico, and by the Walgreens. And this guy is by the red light too. I said to him, "What is your red light Var Torah? What what Torah teaching you have? Waiting for the green man to beckon us across the street. What's your Torah what's your Torah thought for the?" So he says, "You tell me yours." I told him mine, and where you from? Where I'm from. And by the time we got to Beis Betzalel, oh, I know this shul. I once called a Rabbi Levin. Really? Yeah. I said, that's me. He said, his face literally changed colors. He says, you have no idea. You changed my life. This happened yesterday. Those are the words he said. You changed my life. You have no idea. I'm like, what are you talking about? He said, I called you up. I told you that my wife wasn't Jewish, and she was interested in converting, and I didn't know where to go. We were married and I felt this too late. And he just told me, what do you do? And I put him in touch with Rabbi Diversion and whatever, and they moved from the valley to the city because many rabbinical courts want would-be converts to live in a Jewish neighborhood. We moved here, and my wife just finished 9 months of study, and we've separated since then, and we're to prepare for a conversion. And now she's about to convert to Judaism. And so this was a red light, like two separate cars. Huh? Two separate. No, I was walking to show. Oh, walking. I was walking to show yesterday. Okay. Anyways, the point is, Mashiach is going to come, and we all have something to give to that and to make that happen. And we have to realize that. We have to realize it in ourselves and spread to others. So it's a reality. One good thought, one good word, one good action will tip the scale and make it happen. Chaim, Chaim, and Baruch.